viewers, it's your girl, Spooky Girl. And in today's video, we will be talking about the OG classic that started off the Classic Universal Monster movies, and that is Dracula. In total, there were 6 movies from the original, from 1931 all the way until 1948. So yeah, and to be perfectly honest, I'm not really a vampire person, but he is pretty cool, especially the very first. So how this is gonna work, I'll be talking about all of the movies in order, but if there are crossover movies, I'm only gonna be talking about Dracula himself, and if he affects the plot really goodly or badly. So starting off with the OG classic, Dracula. And I think it's really fine. I mean, keep in mind, this came out in 1931, which is when, the silent era was starting to become a close. And I could definitely tell, when you see it, it's like you're watching a stage play rather than watching a movie. I mean, to be perfectly honest, yeah. But what actually saves this movie is actually the vampire himself, and that is the actor who plays him, Bela Lugosi. He sells it as the goddamn Dracula. Anytime I think of Dracula, I think Bela Lugosi. He's just a fantastic actor every time you see him. And he's basically a popular actor during, this era. Because he not only did Dracula, he did, other characters. I'll talk about that another time if I do other videos. And also, I need to tell you that there was actually a Spanish version that is basically the whole entire movie, or the same exact movie, but instead made it, improve it a bit. Although the actors in the Spanish version do not, compete against, the original actors, because they're more phenomenal compared to, the Spanish actors. Nothing against them, that's just my opinion. So yeah, do I recommend either one of those? For nostalgia, you can choose, but I prefer the original over the Spanish. Not because the Spanish version's bad, I just prefer the original. And then, after the success of this movie, there will be few more movies after that. But the last one out of the era of these original 30s movies was Dracula's Daughter. And I think I don't really know what to say about this. Because, sure, the original was not really fantastic or anything, but at least it had, popular actors, to actually keep you going and actually follow the movie. But in this movie, there's not really a lot. Sure, the actor who plays Van Helsing from the original does return, but he's barely, in the movie a lot, so what do I know? And also, what about the Countess herself? Well, I think she actually does a decent role being a sympathetic vampire, although it doesn't really go anywhere, and she barely does anything, just relying on her henchmen to do stuff. So it's really awkward. And after the bomb of this disappointing sequel, they released Son of Dracula years later, and this movie is even worse than Dracula's Daughter. You wanna know why? Mainly because it's just basically exposition that we already know about vampires. But what about Dracula or the Son of Dracula? He doesn't do anything. But there's actually one interesting fact about this movie. Have you heard the name Alucard? For those who don't know, there was an anime called Helsing that featured the name of the main character, Alucard. And you know how it got that name? thanks to this movie, because this was the movie that gave the world that reversal name. Because there were a few more, but that was the only one I know. And this vampire is actually played by one of the legendary actors, just like Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff as Frankenstein. And that is Lon Chaney Jr. For those who don't know, he's been like doing like all like these movies. He wants to become like his father, although he's kind of a little bit different than that, but hey, everyone's different. And he plays the Dracula in this. And to be perfectly honest, he's a lot more better as the Wolfman than Dracula and Frankenstein and the Mummy. So yeah, those are the ones that he did, but he's better as a sympathetic Wolfman. So, but I will talk more about the Wolfman, like, if I ever do another one of these videos. So yeah, moving on from that disappointing sequel, let's talk about the two movies that feature the word house in it. House of Frankenstein and House of Dracula. And what do I even say about these? Because when it comes to Dracula, he's barely in it. I'm just going to tell you what he does, because it's literally, both of these movies are literally the same. He gets freed from his, coffin, finds a woman, trans like her, and then dies, the same sad death. So, do I really need to talk about this? I mean, sure, House of Dracula is a little, he appears a lot more longer, but despite being called House of Dracula, he's barely in it. Yeah, so if you just want to watch those two for nostalgia, go ahead. I don't care. And finally, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite crossovers, and that is Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. And oh boy, it's a lot of fun and stuff. And Bela Lugosi returns to the role as Dracula. Woohoo! Yeah! And he's actually the antagonist in this movie, and he sells it. Just sprinkle a little more garlic in and that's good. Well, I'd rather have garlic for breakfast, actually. And although that he's mainly in this movie just to bring back Frankenstein, as his little dog and stuff like that, but all that he needed was a brain. And all that you really need is one of the dimwit's brains. He's not really that smart. Why did he need that? But the point is, he needs a brain for Frankenstein to be a lot more stronger and stuff like that. So, sure, he could find anyone, because can't he just use, his powers, to command someone? To be hypnotized and then bring to his castle and stuff, so then he can find a brain and put it in? Whatever, because it has to follow the comedy duo anyway, so who cares? But overall, as a Dracula story, it is pretty cool. Oh, one more thing. Have you ever wanted to see the Wolfman fight Dracula? He's in this movie, and oh my god, it's so good! Because, in some legends, I would say, that werewolves and vampires used to be enemies. It's very similar to Hugh Jackman's Van Helsing. It's very similar to that. So, yeah, it's a lot more iconic, and they actually take them, the Wolfman takes Dracula down in the funniest way possible, so I'll explain it. Because the Wolfman, saw, Dracula, trying to fly away, so Wolfman jumps, grabs the bat, and just lunges into the water. The last time you see Dracula and the Wolfman, two iconic characters. So overall, how do I really like about the Dracula stories, or movies? Let's just say they are hit and miss. Because keep in mind, I'm not a vampire person. I'm more of a werewolf kind of person. And also, there's actually one monster I absolutely love, but we'll get to that when I actually do this. So yeah, I would like to know from the comments, have you ever seen the classic Dracula movies? I would like to know in the comments below. Just comment, like, and subscribe, and I can continue doing more of this content. And now, I will see you guys in the next video.